So my dear friends, welcome to a brand new and exciting crypto update video. Bitcoin is currently at $110,600 and we are still within our range. So we haven't managed to break above our resistance, let alone even come close to $112,900 or $113,000, where according to the heat map, a lot of capital was lying around yesterday. So far, we haven't been there yet. The long position is still running nonetheless. We also still have a few other positions open. We'll take a detailed look at those now as well. That means Ethereum, Solana, and of course gold and silver, because they also pumped up quite a bit yesterday. But before we get started now, before we dive in, reminder, tonight at 7 o'clock, the live stream will take place again on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. Feel free to join if you're interested in even more altcoins that I can't fit into the video, so make sure to tune in tonight. Otherwise, leave a like, subscribe, and feel free to check out the Telegram group. There, you'll always get the latest info, updates, and trades whenever there's something new. And if you're still looking for an exchange, feel free to sign up with my partner exchange, BingX. At the moment, you can get up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses there just for signing up and doing a few things. Otherwise, let's get right into it. As I said, Bitcoin is currently at $110,600 US. The plan, yes, remains unchanged. But today we need to act much more cautiously. Of course, the plan for 116 to 121, 122k, we've been talking about that on and off for a week or two now. But first, we still need to get above this resistance at 112,900 to around 114,000 US. Let's quickly turn on the vectors. There we have yesterday's, again, yes, filled into the downside. Now we would have one more left, down to about 109,700 US. I would still expect in the next few hours that we move down into this price range somehow. But then in any case, a reversal should occur first. But what's also extremely important today is that we have major news coming out of the US. I already pointed this out yesterday that especially, oops, there we go. Now it's perfect. That today at 2:30 p.m. we have the continuing jobless claims, the initial claims. We have productivity outside of agriculture. So there's quite a lot of data coming our way today, which the Fed will of course point out, or rather, which the Fed will be watching very closely in regard to its interest rate decision. If this data isn't really good, or let's say actually it would be better if it were even a bit better. So at the very least, if the continuing and initial claims fit perfectly, as well as productivity outside of agriculture. It would be better if everything fits, otherwise that's not a good sign, because then the Fed would have to get inflation under control and also deal with a weak labor market. That's another factor to consider. So it will be interesting to see what happens today at 2:30 p.m. I'm expecting enormous volatility. The funding rates for Bitcoin remain very low. And if we also take a look at the heat map, we still have this big chunk at 113,000 US on the weekly chart. Let's take another look at the daily chart to see where all the clusters are at the moment. That also fits very well. The 113, 114, then up to just under 117,000 US. Right below us now is exactly this cluster, which we were just talking about a moment ago. Exactly where, in the end, our vector candle is at 109,700 US. So that's where the price should turn at the latest or at most in the end. We also have the 0.5, or rather the golden pocket here in this region. So that would be the maximum for us to then start a new attempt upwards. Let's move over to Ethereum. What has happened there? Nothing at all. Really, absolutely nothing. Yesterday, I even criticized that Ethereum is, for the first time in a long while, a bit weaker than Bitcoin. Yes, still here. We just can't get above the $4,500 mark at the moment. Again, just like yesterday at 4,900, I think it was 96 or so, we got rejected. A small dump down again. For the sake of completeness, let's take a look at this as well. We don't have any vectors here except for this blue stopping volume candle, but for now, it's not doing anything. We just have to wait. At the moment, I'm still not going long here. Nothing has changed. We don't have a higher high. We still mainly have this support area down here. That means for now, I'm staying on the sidelines and waiting for a proper setup. Otherwise, for anyone who entered here, the target remains at around 4,640 to 4,800 US. Yes, Solana almost reached our third take profit up here. We were at, where exactly were we? 213, 214 was my third take profit at the moment. Well, that's how it is. Let's just wait and see what happens here next. At the moment, there's also this small pullback on the 4-hour time frame. Let's quickly switch to the 1-hour chart. There we can see that right now, with the 200 SMA as support, there are actually no more vectors below us that would need to be filled. If this support here at $205 breaks now, it could get a bit critical in my opinion for the next few hours. So it would be better if it holds here now. Otherwise, we'll stick with the setup. The trade is running, stop loss at entry. We've already taken 2 take profits, or was it 1? I don't remember. Took 1 or 2 take profits. The target remains at $220 to $230. But honestly, I don't see any new long entries here for now. Down here was the perfect chance at around $197 down to $191. Otherwise, for now, I wouldn't enter any position here. The risk is too high because we still don't have a higher high. Here we could still focus on saying, okay, we now have a higher low in this upward movement, but otherwise I would just stay away from it for now. We can skip Euro versus US dollar, just like US dollar versus JPY as well. Gold, after reaching our sell zone here, even overshot it a bit for now, but that's fine. It's not a bad thing. But overall, it was definitely within our sell zone. We continued to take profit. After that, there was this slight sell-off for now. For me, after we've now adjusted the fib level here, the next decisive zone would be the following. Everything between $3,445 and about $3,400. That's where the golden pocket is. Let's turn on the vectors here as well. Down here, we still have 2 vectors perfectly inside our golden pocket. That would fit perfectly. So for everyone who's still keen on going long here, I could imagine this pullback happening in order to then, let's say, target our major goals of around, what did we say, $3,650 to $3,700 US dollars, or even attack $3,800 in the long term. Those are the current options for gold. I'm not doing anything. As I said, I haven't closed the position yet because we got a top entry down here a few weeks ago. That's why I'm just letting the position run for now. And if we come back down, I'll double it. Same game, of course, with silver. Here too, we've seen a small counter reaction for now. But that's not surprising. We've dropped 2.5% here. By now, it's only 1.46%. But here too, it was basically the same scenario. We had an extreme pump from down here up by 10%. So a brief interim correction can happen as well. Then I'd say let's take a look at the other altcoins where we've recently entered some trades. Fartcoin is also still in the trade entry because our sell zone down here remains the same. We're seeing a small pullback here right now, but that shouldn't be a problem for us at this point. I still expect it to hit 0.75 again. I can easily imagine it going down to 0.73. That would be another opportunity potentially to find an entry here. But you really have to think it through because, as I said, Fartcoin is extremely volatile, so I wouldn't recommend getting in here to just anyone. Otherwise, traditional markets. The DAX continued to lose ground yesterday, but here too, the support is still holding. Nasdaq, yes, still in a sideways phase. Dow Jones also in a sideways phase. Nothing happened yesterday either. The S&P 500 at least tried to reach a new high again recently. So as you can see, we're still basically in a very, very quiet phase. Crypto's in a sideways phase, and stocks or indices are also in a sideways phase at the moment. Very, very little is happening. Still, in my opinion, preparations are starting to get underway a little bit. As I said, today we have the important data from the US, the initial jobless claims. Tomorrow, in the end, we'll also get the non-farm payrolls. We have the average hourly earnings, we have non-farm employment, and we have the unemployment rate. So tomorrow there's another big batch coming our way. The next 2 days will be exciting and could be decisive for the direction. If the data turns out to be so positive that we see a pump, including in the indices, as I said, there's still a bit of room everywhere, even if we take a quick look at Nvidia again. There's still room there as well. We've just tested and swept our low here, and we could still reach our targets up here nonetheless. Just wait and see. Be a bit cautious and don't try to go long at all costs, just so you can still be in some long positions. In my opinion, that doesn't make sense. But with some caution, you can still, I'd say, make some decent profits here. But I expect that in 13 days it could be over. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll hear from each other again tonight at 7 o'clock for our live stream. And I'd say leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and make sure everyone joins the live stream tonight. That's it from me. We'll talk again later, or rather tonight. Until then, ciao. Ciao. And as always, stay crypto.